Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. In this video we are turning this paper bag into this glorious beauty. Let me show you. This paper bag was stored in my stash like this, so I'm just going to go with this kind of a look. I still don't know how it's going to end up looking. You do, because I've just shown you. It's got stains, it's got rips, and I'm going to now start transforming it into something hopefully beautiful. I'm going to go into my folder of offcuts and find some pretty papers, and of course these look really well. These are leftovers from my last project. Maybe find some other things that go really well. All right, I think that's enough for now. I'm gonna write myself some notes. Cover this because of the stain. We're gonna have a closure here. There's going to be a closure. I need to do something with this rip over here and decorate the front. Because I have this rip here, I'm going to completely remove the gussets on both sides. If I didn't have the rip, I would leave that intact and have that opening, but that's getting on my nerves, so it's gonna have to come off. And I'm only gonna go up to that fold. All right. At this point I have some options. I can either leave this as it is and cover it and have it like an opening page, I suppose, or I can glue it or sew it shut on the sides, so then this is a pocket like I was planning to do. So that's what I'm going to do. I was about to start sewing just this section here, and then I changed my mind and decided to sew right through the top and right through the bottom. So before I do that, I'm going to cover this panel first. I'm going to trim this piece of paper to size. At this point, I decided to create another pocket here. So what I'll do is I will add this beautiful trim to this edge right here. That kind of went all over the place, kind of crooked and whatnot, which is getting on my nerves. Lots of things are getting on my nerves today by the looks of it. So I'm just going to double it up. This is what I'm going to do. Back to the sewing machine I go. Well, that didn't really help it much. It's still not straight. So now what I'm going to do, I was planning to do this anyway, but now especially, I'm going to add some pockets. So I've glued it down and then sewn, and now I get a nice straight edge. And now I'm going to trim this off. This is what I have so far. I can glue these pockets on at this stage, but I'm actually going to go and sew them on. So I'm going to keep them in place with a little something here and just sew the three sides and then repeat on all of my pockets. And here is what that's looking like. Quite nice indeed. Okay, time to chop this off. And now I'm going to glue this onto this inside flap thing of the paper bag. So this is actually the bottom of the bag, and I'm going to cover that with this piece that I've just made. But I also want this here to be a pocket. So I'm just going to glue these 3 sides. And down it goes. Now that I've let that dry a little bit, I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and sew a stitch right across the top and across the bottom, but I'm going to do it from this side, just like this. Okay, that's one side done. All right, let's have a look. Here's what I have happening. This is a pocket, and then this is also a pocket, and of course pocket. And now that's what that looks like so far. I'm gonna go ahead and trim these bits off. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is prepare my panels to cover this and this section. And by the way, this pocket looks like this now. It doesn't open quite as much as it did before. I removed the gussets, but I knew that's what's going to happen, so I'm fine with that. I'll prepare the panels and I'll be right back. All right, here's my quick train of thought. My initial idea, what I was going to do is glue these down, and then remember here how I wrote, drew myself circles for closure. My plan was to have a Velcro hook and loop closure here so that the journal closes with hook and loop right there. But then I realized that if that's closed with hook and loop, this is going to be sitting up open like this, and I'm not a big fan, so I'm going to scrap that idea. I think no hook and loop closure there. And another thing I realized when I cut this down is a little bit of this scrapbook paper is going to be visible. So because this has an uneven serrated kind of an edge, I'm gonna give this edge a little bit of a wiggle. I can go in with these scissors, but I'm gonna do this. Here we go, beautiful. That looks a bit better now, but I feel now like all of the edges have to be like that, so off I go. I'm just gonna slightly ink the edges. I'm going to use an offcut piece on this panel before I glue it down. I'm gonna give myself a little band here. Just like that. But I'm gonna glue it down at the back. I'm gonna tuck something in there. All right, and now at this stage, I'm going to glue this whole thing down. And this one I'm also going to glue down, but not the whole thing. I'm just going to apply glue onto the 3 sides here, and that's going to be another kind of a pocket. And I'm bringing it a little bit close to the edge. I'm still going to bind a signature in there. I want that to be visible, so that's pretty good. That's looking pretty good. Before I continue with anything, I'm going to place this under something heavy until it dries, or for the next 20 minutes or so, and then I'll come back and we shall continue. Okay, everything's nice and dry, and the next thing I'm going to do is the signatures that I'm going to be binding into this book. And I decided to do something similar to this. I've shown this in a tutorial last week where we're doing this kind of a traveler's notebook kind of thing. This is quite a tall book that I did last week. And what I want to do differently here is I only want to have 2 signatures, because otherwise my book isn't going to be able to close. And instead of binding the signatures into the cover, which obviously can be done, and I was planning to do that, I decided to pop in an elastic so that my signatures are removable. That's what I'm gonna do. But instead of doing 3 signatures, I'm only going to do 2. So I prepared some things ahead of time. I just want to show you, these are going to be my little inserts. I thought craft paper is quite fitting for this project. Made a little cover and made 2 of those. First thing I'm going to do is bind this together, which of course you don't have to do. You can have the papers loose like this. I've done this last week, so you can see the inserts are removable, but you can see that that's bound together. So that's what I'm planning to do today. I made these inserts slightly smaller than the height of my journal. I'll show you in a moment. I'm just inking all the edges to have inked edges. And here we go, needle and thread ready. So in last week's video, I went into the binding in depth and I showed you how to do a 13-hole pamphlet stitch. Here I'm only going to do 5 holes, and I really don't want to spend too much time kind of explaining the binding, but so I'm going to speed it up. But if you need clarification, I'm going to link the previous week's video and you can have a look. And here we go, I've got 5 holes and I'm starting in the middle. And now I'm just going to weave it through like figure 8, just like so. Go back out and back in, skip the middle hole, out, back in, out again, and now we're going back in through the middle hole and done. Tie a knot, double knot and triple knot just to be sure, and done. Now I'm going to repeat on this signature. I'm not sure if I mentioned I used craft paper. I only used 4 sheets folded in half. My book can't be too thick because of the nature of it, and all I used is just A4 sheets that I of course trimmed down to size. All right, so here's what we have. Both books are bound. Look how beautiful that looks. Very nice. And now I'm just going to see how it's going to look. So before I start putting stuff in pockets, I'm not sure what I'm going to do here yet. I have to make sure that there is a way for this book to kind of stay closed. And you can see already I can't be having any more than this as a kind of journaling space, I suppose you can say. So the way that I'm planning on binding this is, here's my little prototype. I just quickly did it so I can work out in my head how I'm going to do this. This is going to be in the spine, and these are my 2 pretend signatures. And then I'm going to have one like so and the other like so, and that's going to be, you see that? That's what I'm about to do. And I might use this elastic. Okay, so for this type of binding, I need 2 holes up here and 2 holes down here, in that, obviously, in the crease. So I'm just going to mark. I don't want to be poking holes through my sewing. So if I had known in advance that I'm going to be doing this, I would have poked the holes first and then sewn around. It doesn't matter. It's all right. I'm just going to mark myself a line where the fold is. Okay, I kind of did some markings there, and I just want to show you that I made my booklets smaller than the overall cover because I knew I wanted to do this binding. If I was going to bind right through and attach this permanently to the cover, I probably would have made the booklets exactly the same height. It will make sense why shortly. All right, time to poke the holes. If you don't have a hole punching tool, you can use something like this, you know, that's gonna create a nice hole there. You see that? I have a crocodile, which is what I'm going to use. And here we go. You can see holes are punched. And because I did this tutorial last week, I feel like I will be repeating a whole bunch of information that was already covered in this tutorial. So if this seems a little bit rushed, this video is linked in the description box, so you can always go and check that out. Look at these beauties. And also, of course, we did different sizes. So anyway, next thing I'm going to do is apply eyelets. This is going to give protection and strength to the holes, and then the elastic won't be able to rip right through, especially because this is just paper bag. It needs some type of a reinforcement. I spoke about this in that last video as well, so I'm just gonna go ahead and set these eyelets, and I'm not gonna talk about, you know, all the things that's already freshly done, freshly discussed. And here we go. Oh, lovely. We have 2 holes, we have reinforcements, no rippage is going to be happening on my watch. And that's what it looks like from the side. Perhaps they're not really aligned as well as I'd like them to be, but it is what it is and it's gonna look fine. So now I have a little bit of elastic over here. I'm gonna start threading from the inside bottom hole, come back inside through the hole next to it, just like so, and now go up through this one here, second from top, and come back inside through the top hole. So all we have at the back is this and this, and inside we have 2 elastics. In last week's video I was binding in 3 signatures, so this had to be left longer. This time around I'm only binding in 2 signatures, so I need these elastics to be somewhat tight. Okay, at this point, if you're wanting to do fun stuff like this, little beads down the bottom, you would tie your knot here down the bottom and add beads. And I'm thinking, is that something I want to do? Actually, that's not something I want to do today. So I'm going to want to hide the knot on the inside of this insert. So I'm simply going to tie a knot now. So that's pretty good in my opinion. That's pretty tight. And I'm going to trim this stuff down later. So now you'll see why I made my signatures shorter than the cover. I mean, it looks good because you can see that stitching looks good anyway. But this has to thread through this elastic, and you can see how this first elastic is even lower, like it's down here compared to my signature, right? So I don't want to have placed too much stress on this top spine. So I made it slightly shorter. I'll show you what I mean. This is going to be my first signature. I'm just gonna wrap that around just like so, and now can you see how that elastic has to go from there over the top of my signature, and the same thing happens down here as well. So there's a little bit of stress placed here. That's why I didn't want my book tall and then, you know, you have to go all the way around. Okay, otherwise we can make the holes closer to the top of the book. But then again, I didn't want to go through the stitching. Okay, now second one goes through, and there we go, perfect. I'm gonna chop that excess off. I'm gonna keep this. I'm sure I'll find a use for it. And here we go, it's bound. The journals are bound, the inserts are bound, and they are removable. And you can just keep putting in new inserts as you use them up, kind of thing. That's the idea. If the elastic degrades over time, which elastics do, very easy to replace the elastic as well. So love how this looks. So now I can see the thickness of my journal. Of course, I'm gonna have to have a closure here. This is looking quite nice. I'm quite happy with that. And now what I want to do is something here, I'm not sure what, something. A notepad is basically what I have in my mind. These are the offcut pieces from when I was trimming down this paper for the covers of my inserts. So I think this is what I want to use. So my thought process is I'm going to make this into a notepad. And of course the notepad is going to be removable and refillable. The issue with this is I'm going to have papers in here. And what's going to happen is every time I want to close my journal, if that's open at all, it's gonna get on my nerves, and because then you have to kind of hold this closed to close this. No big deal really, but I have to find some type of a way to hold this closed. So I could do a string closure. I would need another piece, which is why I have this piece. So I could do like a notepad inside, and then this can be kept closed with a string, you know, one of those. All right, this kind of thing. This is my personal junk journal that's completely finished, and I have a, oh, I don't know if you can read that. I did some journaling in there, maybe some personal stuff that I don't particularly want to, you know, have out there. But this is the kind of closure I'm talking about. Okay, back to this. That's one option. And another option I'm thinking is to do something a little bit different. So that when this removes, maybe this one can, like, I don't know. The only way to know is if I try. And if it doesn't work, then we can always go back to the string closure. Okay, I think I know what I'll do. First thing I'm going to do is make this notepad. So I'm gonna pop all of this to the side. I put a new sponge on my inking tool and it's just not really doing a great job, but it is what it is. Okay, going back to my craft paper. It can be any paper really. And I'm just going to trim this paper down and make a little stack of a little notepad. I'm cutting down 2 sheets of paper at once. Having this scrap paper underneath gives me a perfect cut, perfect edge, because my thing is blunt. And I've been doing the paper underneath for years. And people say, why don't you just buy a new blade? Well, because this system works and for some reason I enjoy it. Okay, here's my little, I think this is enough. I don't want to be putting any more. So my notepad is going to be like this. And this is going to be opening. And now I want to do something down here. Maybe something like this. Or like this. I like this one. All right, that's sewn on. And now this can be kind of glued on in a number of ways. I am going to sew right through the top here. I'm just going to hold this in place while I take it to my sewing machine. Otherwise, another option that you can do is you can just make 2 holes here and tie a little bit of twine and a bow. You can staple if you don't have a sewing machine, plenty of other things, other options, I suppose. You can do double-sided tape. I don't know. All right, let's see. Here's my little notepad sewn. Perfect. That's the closure. And the way I want to be putting this in is just the bottom piece goes through. Okay, so that's the idea. Now I wanted to do something with this. Maybe it can be like this, but I need this to be closed. That's why I'm gonna go in with the second piece. Like I said, this is just what I'm choosing to do today. There's plenty of other ways to do it. See this, when I go to close my, close my journal, everything is, you know, opening and sliding, and I want to avoid that. That's pretty much what's going on at the moment. So here's what I'm gonna do. This is going to be glued down. Glue it down! I think I was trying to do Schwarzenegger accent unsuccessfully. All right, I'll just mark myself a little mark here, and I'm going to go ahead and glue just this piece down right there. I could play around. I could leave that into a pocket. Might be going overboard with the pockets, so you know, and there's only so much stuff that I can fit into this journal, so I am just going to, we could do a side pocket. Ugh, what do I want to do? Maybe just glue the whole thing. I'm gluing the whole thing down. All right, that's glued down. Opens down, opens up like so. Okay. I have these bits left over from when I was trimming down the A4 size sheets. And now I have this. I'm planning to use this in some way, make an extra little booklet. But I'm going to use one of these, make it into 2 little pieces, smaller pieces. And then I'm going to glue them in there. Now I feel like I want a third one. Get to the chopper! Get to the chopper! I'm practicing my Schwarzenegger accent. It's just not happening. Glue down. Glue down. No, that's totally off. Glue down. No, I can't do Schwarzenegger clearly. All right, here's how that's looking. I don't want to do too much. It's gonna seem complicated when it's actually not. When you do bit by bit, one thing leads to another. Now I'm thinking I want to do, you know, maybe I can use this gusset piece, you know, the one that was ripped at the start. I could do something with that. One thing leads to another is what I was about to say. Like, for example, right now, I'm thinking a little notes or noted, you know, planner stuff kind of thing. Here's one that says noted, but it's round. So my idea is when you can opt to take the notepad out completely, and then this can be a little something Perhaps this can be made into a pocket. You can have a tag in there. There's plenty of things that we could kind of do, but I'm going to glue this down and call it a day. Okay, that's looking okay. I'm gonna leave that as it is. So now I think we can finish this section. This slips over under the little thing, belly band, and it comes down like so. This one goes over the top of this. So now at this stage I could have it like this or have it like this. These are all minor details. And then I want to keep this closed. So I'm going to use a paper clip, which really now in hindsight, I know that I could have used the paper clip all along. I didn't have to be doing this business, but I like the the more interactive, the better. Like you have to lift this, and then you can lift this, and then this can come out, and then you can pop this in, you know. I love that. And here we go. Now when I'm closing my journal, no issues whatsoever. I feel like I fit quite a bit in there. So now what's left is the front of the journal, and also all this space that I am going to be filling up. Now, decisions. Actually, no, not that many decisions. I decided that I want this for my cover. But before I start designing, let's say, the cover, I need to work out the closure, because I need a closure here. I could tie a little bit of lace, whatever, but for some reason I have a need to make a belt. I want an actual belt. And I know that I have a whole bunch of these buckles, because when I get rid of belts and stuff, then, you know, if they can't be donated and stuff like that, I'll keep the buckles. So I know that I have lots of buckles, and of course I'm not gonna go destroying belts to get a buckle unless the belt is already destroyed. So I rummaged through my stuff, and of course I can't find any buckles with the little thing, you know. These are some of the things that I found, and I can most definitely make this work. Make this use this, or use this as a belt. Another thing that I found, actually my mum gave me this because she's not using it anymore. These are cardigan, I have no idea what they're called, but you're supposed to wear it on your cardigan, and so you clip one side of the cardigan and then the other side, and it keeps your cardigan kind of closed. So that's that, and I love the look of this. And all I have to do, look at this, it looks better in real life than it actually does. I kind of don't like how it's protruding. I wish it was a little bit shorter. So I think that's a no. And another thing I found is this. I found this in an op shop. I must have, because it's very old. Own fashion belt with buckle kits. Okay, so I think that's like for 2 belts. It's very kind of old, and I think this would work, but I can't work out how to actually make it, because the instructions are horrendous, absolutely horrendous. It does not make any sense at all. I'm not going to dwell on this. It doesn't make any sense, because I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with this part, what I'm supposed to do with this part, but I will try and work it out. So now, of course, I'm looking at what I could use for my belt. This is a sleeve from an old jacket, and I have some leather pieces, offcuts. Perhaps this is going to look nice if I can work this thing out. So I assume I need to cut myself about this width. So off I go. Okay, I've cut myself a long piece of string, and now I'm just gonna have to work out how this one piece attaches. I think I worked it out. It literally just tells me to seal the belt with lighter and then slide the buckle onto the end of the webbing. What is webbing? I don't know. Okay, this is really annoying me now, and I don't even like it, so I'm going to abandon this idea. I don't even know if I worked it out properly or not. What about this? I could stitch this, steal this from the other buckle. Maybe I could do the silver. I went rummaging through my stash some more. This is what I have in mind. This is from boots, old boots. I just took that off. I would, you know, give it a nice polish. But this is kind of what I want, but I want it in gold, not silver. And all of my buckles are silver. Anyway, I'm just gonna have to go with this. And I'm gonna go ahead and sew this. Just looking at my belt, that's how it's done. It's sewn. So that's what I'll do. Obviously I can't do it this close, so I might go a little bit further out like this. Sew this, and then I'll know if this is gonna work or not. All right, that's sewn, and I'll come back and worry about it looking neat later when I see if this is actually gonna work. So the plan is for this to go through maybe here, and then maybe here. Is this how these belts work with these buckles? I really don't know. Oh, break a nail while I'm at it. My precious. And then I can have this here somewhere. It's a little belt, a little short belt. And now it's too wide. I cut it too wide. I'm really hating this whole process, to be honest with you right now, because what I have in my head and what's happening down here is not, it does not align. Maybe I can really, yes, that's what I'll do. I'll really study this whole thing and then do it properly. What do you think of that idea? That I make myself an expert on making mini belts for journals, and then I do a proper tutorial. I love that idea. I love the idea of me being a mini belt expert. Oh yes, I do. Well, it's a belt. I'm going to follow these instructions and seal this edge. That's looking good. That is definitely doing something. Proceed with caution. What do you think about the belt? Mini belts idea. All sorts of mini belts. I don't know what I'm doing now. Kind of going all over. Oh, you know what I could do now? Here's my little belt. It's not very exciting at this stage. I was gonna say I could put studs on it to make it a bit more fun. I just had another idea. So on my little book that I have, this is how it came, and then this is how it is, because I added this body tattoo thing on it. Metallic tattoos, they're temporary tattoos that you stick on your body, and I found this in a secondhand store. I don't even know if this is a thing anymore, but I figured if you can put it on skin, then you can put it on leather, even though this actually is not real leather. This is like a faux leather, vegan friendly kind of thing, right? So I'm thinking that maybe this is something that I can use, and perhaps it's something that you can be on the lookout for in your thrift stores. Maybe I can make my belt a little bit more special. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Oh well, you know, it's not the end of the world. Peel off the clear film on top. Place sticky side down in the position you want to apply the tattoo. That's done. Soak the paper with water and make sure it's fully wet. Okay then, let the soakage process begin. Well, when I did this on my book that I've just shown you before, I was worried that, I wasn't worried actually, I just thought if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, who cares? You know, you never know things until you try them. When it actually worked, I loved it, and it's been a few months since I did it, and it's not peeling off, it's not coming off. You would think that it would peel off right away like a sticker, but it's not. Anyway, how long do I have to do this? Soak the paper and make sure it's fully wet, which it is now. Press and hold for about 20 seconds. All right, let's press and hold. How shall we do this? And then slowly remove the paper. Oh, it's already. Alrighty, moment of truth. Oh yes, baby. Would you look at that? Do I like this? Oh, I do. I do like this. All right, now I just have to do this here. I'm gonna cut another one. You know how long I've had this in my stash? Probably, I would say 10 years. And I had no idea, of course, how to use, or you know, what to use them for. Of course, I'm not gonna apply them on my body. I'm way too old for that. Well, does anybody even do this anymore? So that's how long I've had it for. And here it is, coming in handy at the perfect time. And the final reveal. Oh, all right. it's a belt. How much better would it be if I had thought of doing this before sewing? So it goes all the way, it's fine. And if I had a gold buckle, I don't, it's fine. Or if I could make this one work, that would look pretty cool. But it is what it is. I'm just gonna move along, enjoy this smug feeling I'm feeling right now. Quite satisfied with myself of thinking of doing this. Let's see, I'm worried now that if I rub it, it's gonna come off, but I got this one in, I think I put this one in February, and it's now April. I mean, you know, every day doing this opening, closing, it's stuck. It is, and it's as perfect as it was when I first applied it. So I'm hoping that, I mean, it's exactly the same. The material is not. This is actual leather that I'm using today, and this is vegan friendly. Anyway, these are all offcuts. I'm not gonna go and buy real leather. Please don't get offended that I'm using real leather here, okay? Please. And excellent. Oh, I love how that looks. And now I can go ahead, now that I know how my little belt looks, now I can go ahead and decorate. Maybe this is going to be way too busy. This is why I wanted to have the belt ready before I start decorating the cover, because I don't want it to all blend into one. So I'm just gonna have a little ponder off camera and come back and show you what I've decided to do. First, I'm going to trim this paper down to size. All right, here we go. That's cut to size. Now I'm going to decide on a journal topper. It's always good to have a stash of journal toppers ready to go. I have plenty of tutorials on this sort of stuff. I'm going to link them down below. And I think something like this would look quite nice. But I also have this beautiful stack of journal toppers sent to me by one of my lovely subscribers. I can see a lot of Tim Holtz in this, and look how beautiful these pieces are. I've been hoarding them forever, and I think this is the absolute perfect piece to go on top of my journal. It's going to look something like this, and I think that's gonna look so beautiful. It's gonna be great. There is one issue with this piece, but I'm adamant on using this piece. I'll show you what the issue is, but first I'm going to glue this down, and then I'll glue this on top because it has this chunky thing, so I can't put it under something heavy. So first I'm going to glue this down, put it onto something heavy, and then when that's ready, then I will glue this piece. Okay, down it goes. I might have to remove this just for now. Put it under something heavy for a few minutes. All right, that will do. And now glue this down. I'm contemplating not gluing it down, just having it there, but I'm gonna glue it down. I feel bad covering this. Look at how beautiful this looks at the back. Down it goes. All right, so that's glued down, and I'll show you what the issue is with this. The belt covers the man, and it doesn't sit well with me. So what I'm going to do is add another piece. This will be a removable piece over the top, and of course I'm going to pull out from my little stash this one, and I'm going to use a little paper clip and clip it onto this piece. All right, here we go. There's my little paper clip there, and now this piece can be clipped on. It can be taken on and off right here, maybe a little bit lower, something like this. That looks quite nice, quite rich. And now when the belt is on, it doesn't look weird, it doesn't look strange. So that's looking pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to finish up all of the inside. So I have to put this back. All right, that's back on. Now I have a pocket here to do something with, and all these pockets and all these pockets here, and I'm gonna go and search for things. And actually I have these offcuts pieces. I want to make little booklets with this. I'm gonna make 2 little booklets with this. Just real simple. I'm gonna do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. All right, there's 1 and there's 2. Now I'm just gonna pop something on top, and here we go, done. 2 little booklets. Done and dusted. All right, so now, and of course I was using my leftover bits of, you know, the scrapbook paper. Okay, so the booklets are going to live in here like so and like so. Okay, booklets done. Now I have this little pocket here. I want to do something with this, maybe like a bookmark, but one that opens up, I don't know. Just contemplating. That looks all right, but I want to make it more fun or something. I can sew the sides here and have it like a cash stash, a secret cash stash. Otherwise, I have all these little offcuts and I'm gonna make tiny little pockets, and then you'll see in a moment what I'm gonna do. Okay, little pieces cut down, little pieces inked, and now a little bit of glue on the sides and the bottom. Glue it down, little pieces glued, and here's what I'm thinking. Oh, look at this stamp. Hoard worthy, I reckon. Look at this. I need one more down here. Bosnia, that's where I'm from. We shall be hoarding that one. Australia, that's also where I'm from. Okay, that shall be it for now. I decided to go with a stamp booklet. Not sure why. I just felt like I want little pockets with full of stuff, and what can you fit into tiny little pockets? Little stamps, of course. So that's gonna go in there. Lovely. Can it close? Yes, it can. Look at it. And all we have left is these 3 pockets and this pocket here. I have this little offcut piece from my stamp booklet, so I'm going to do something with this. Another booklet, of course, tiny little one. It's going to live in here. This little lady is going to live in here. And these 3 mini little vellum pieces are going to go up here. And there we have it. Oh no, I thought I was done, but there's one more. One more. What should we do here? I'm gonna pop this piece that I have in here. Perfect, because it has a little pull-out tab there. Excellent. And the book is getting quite thick, so I still have this section here. So I'm thinking to use, to put in there my leftover bits. I'm gonna make some large tags. And here's what I did, 2 large tags, and I've sewn around because I couldn't help myself. And that can go in here. Perfect. Okay, and here it is, done. I am going to take everything out of this now so you can see the amount of stuff that's in here. Okay, all the removable bits are out, and I also forgot to mention that there is, if you put your hand through this section down here, that can be like a little secret. In fact, you can put your hand all the way through, all the way to down here, so you can have like cash stash or something, I don't know. All right, let's put everything back in. Stamp booklet, 2 little booklets, signature number 1, signature number 2, little fairy lady, another little booklet, some vellum little pieces, a notepad, paper clip, a little pull-out thing, large tags, a little something else. Look how cool that looks on the back. And of course, the belt. I absolutely love how this turned out, and in fact it turned out much better than I anticipated. I'm really happy with this, and I absolutely, obviously love it. I really hope that you feel inspired by this project. Please, of course, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.